So it was this. This is an O stall, right? So this is a U, where the hand goes up and down. And I feel like it's much harder to get a U than to get an O. But that's just me. And I also like the effect of this one where they go out to the side so they're not in the same line. And then the two of them are coming up where they are both in line with the body. So it's like separated them together and separated them together. So I like the double O in opposite direction that this one is. Right, so it would be like a whichever way you wanted to do your O. I think it lends itself to dancing, and also my whole thing about lines, right? The most, in my opinion, having done an enormous amount of modeling for photos and stuff, the most boring position is squared off. The most interesting position is where you have some sort of something going on with your body. I mean, it's easier for girls because we got curves, so that it naturally gives us not a straight line the way men have. But I think that something like this lends itself to a different sort of aesthetic because you're intentionally staggering it rather than stacking it. And I think there's a certain elegance and beauty in that in and of itself. So we hadn't done patterns before where they were staggered, hence wanting to give you a nice little staggered pattern. And then I guess the distinction that I would make is, long ago in our practice when we were talking about doing stalls and we were talking about the U-stall combination, we talked about the positioning of like where you could actually place your U-stall. And I was saying you could basically put it in 5 different slots, either on your front plane or on your side plane, where it's either all the way like full out extension, where it's half out extension, so like it's your elbow. So it's your hand, it's your elbow. Now it would, if you're standing like this, right, it would be at the length of your hand, at the length of your elbow, in line with your frame, in line with this elbow, or in line with this hand. So this is like elbow to elbow, but you could do full line, so body line. You're still skipping a slot in between, versus elbow to elbow where you're skipping the middle slot in between. So if you think about it as 5 different slots, typically you skip at least 1 slot. You might skip all the way to, like, this is all of the slots. Sure, as part of a turn would be a great example of where you would do that, absolutely. So for this particular one, same thing applies with the floats. The float combos that we've been doing so far, we've been doing them theoretically all in line. This one, I would say, we're doing, the lines are on the elbow line. So the hand is mostly trying to go up and down on this line here, and this one's trying to go on this line here. But then what happens is, it's side opposite left, but then I open my hip so that I'm facing front plane, almost. It's really, I'm facing 3/4. And then as I come through, I do my O there. I mean, I'm not saying my technique is 100% clean, but then this is also, this begs the question, how clean does the technique need to be if you're dancing with it and you can make it look good in the dance? So there's a line between expression and technique that's relevant there, I think. It's not in line with the intention of it being out so that they're both flying on the sides, but then they do stack in line with the body, then flying on the sides, then stacking, flying on the sides, and stacking. That said, by also having it this way, it lends itself to potentially movement with the body because you're already open. Right, so I'm all ready to turn here or here. Like because I'm oriented 3/4, I'm already partway open in my T stance, so it would be really easy to get to a 90-degree here, right? Because like if you're doing, if you're in the side opposite left and you do this float combo, you could really easily turn to, you know, this front plane situation here, right? And that didn't really require much effort at all. You're already positioned. I guess for me, it's always about where can you go in the turn? Because if I can't move with it, it's just not my thing. But I get that that's not everybody's priority.